Well, hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome to the Nook. It's Sunday, so I'm going to shoot some samples. And next Tuesday is National Bourbon Day, so I probably should have done a bourbon yesterday, but I'm definitely doing a couple of bourbon samples here today. And maybe I don't know, shoot another episode just to give you some ideas on what you might want to celebrate with. So what I have here is two samples from Taconic. Taconic has been brought in by PWS Imports into Alberta. And I did their sample not that long ago, about 5 of their regular bourbon and rye releases, but these are special releases. So at Whiskey Drop, they've got Taconic Stout Barrel. It's 45%, so it's their bourbon but finished in a beer stout barrel. And then Taconic Mizunara finish, and this one's a bit higher percent at 53.5%. So, I've got a couple of cool finished bourbons. If you have any finished bourbons, or if you have some from Taconic out of New York, why don't you pour that, sip along, and I'll just give nose, taste, and thoughts on these two samples. 3, 4. Thanks for joining me. Again, shout out to Sean and certainly the Whiskey Drop for helping me out with these samples, and good sizes so I can try them with water and really get to know them a bit. I just opened them up though, let them air for about 10. So the first one I'm going to do is the Taconic Barrel Stout. I imagine, I don't know specifically, but I imagine it's their mash bill that I've seen on the other bourbon. So that's a higher rye, like 25% rye, 5% barley, and 70% corn. And finished for an undisclosed amount of time in barrels that had stout beer in them. So we'll see where it goes. Up front on the nose, nice bourbon in terms of little spice, little vanilla, some oak. If there's any stout beer influence on there, it's on the edge of a burnt chocolate for me. But I've been saying chocolate a lot, and this doesn't scream chocolate, but that's kind of a... Yeah, there's a darker edge, maybe a roasted note to an oak. Maybe that'd be better. Yeah, it's a little hot. There's some cinnamon in there. There's some... Yeah, a little hot. But definite bourbon territory in terms of lots of oak, some spicing, and vanilla. All right, let's jump in. Cheers. I wish I had a little bit of the regular. I should have bought a bottle just so I could compare. Because first thoughts again is a little more, it's a bourbon. And by that, I mean, this one's not a lot of fruit, some good spice, good oak, a little bit of toffee caramel, some cinnamons, but there's something in this from memory, but I haven't had a lot of Taconic, that is just the edge of a little darker oak and a little bit of, like, I'm going to say creaminess, but that's not quite it, but there's something that seems to give it a bit more mouthfeel. Let's try another sip. And there I got a wisp of chocolate. It's not chocolatey, but something in my mind is taking me there. I don't know what. Maybe really dark, almost burnt chocolate cake. It's not as burnt and earthy as I'm trying to communicate. But I would say it's a high rye, spicier bourbon. It feels a little young. It tastes a little spicy, but with a decent amount of oak and a little bit of something going on to me that's taken me into these a little bit creamy but darker flavor notes that I actually like. And I would definitely enjoy that bourbon on a deck or with a friend. It's decent. It's a little young. Well, let's take a look at the Taconic Mizunara finish, right? This is a higher proof, 53.5%. I think it's the same bourbon, which would be a 25% rye, 5 barley, 70 corn, but finished in that Japanese oak. See what we get. Nose and taste. Oh, that is sweeter on the nose, richer, like a sweet cooked brown sugar, or you know, there's a bit more fruit, like a fig, a thick fig or a raisin kind of thickness. I like the nose on that. Oh, a little more butter note coming back on the barrel stout, which I didn't get up front. Interesting. Keep going with the Japanese oak finish. Ah, there's a dry, wow, just a dried, almost leathered note to that. Definitely sweeter on the nose. I would say sweeter, some fruit, some thickness. There's still a little spice, little, you know, there's vanillas and whatnot. It's in the family, but for me, right now, I'm noticing a significant sweeter, pithier kind of fruit to it. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. That's quite a ride. Up front, more of that sweetness, more of that thick cooked molasses treacle, like something going on to me that gives me that kind of sweetness. Tasty. But then it goes quite spicy. Lots of baking spices, lots of cinnamon, there's even a bit of cracked pepper on here. It's kind of a nice mouth coating, like nice feel, almost chewy. So whether it's, you know, a combination of the additional proof, we've moved up to 53.5 from 45, the Japanese oak finish, it's just really, there's more layers, more flavors for sure. For me, a sweetness, edge of fruits, but not bright fruits. That's what I'm saying, like that fig, Christmas fig kind of Christmas pudding tastes, cooked down woods. That's pretty good. I should really taste both of these with a bit of water, maybe let it rest a little bit, and see, do they shift, do they change? Right now though, this Mizunara Japanese oak finish, it's pretty tasty bourbon. Okay, I've put water on these, let them sit for at least 10 minutes. I'm back, let's see what's happened. First the barrel stout, or stout barrel, 45%, but with a splash of water. Interesting. You know, I got a wisp of actually like a grassy note, like a more of a rye note on the nose. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. Yeah, a little bit of that kind of herbaceous, light licorice, lemongrass note is coming through. Very interesting. You know, it's always tasted a bit spicy, a bit of high rye, less fruit, more oaks and cinnamons, but with water, it definitely has a bit of that note. And actually for me, although I love rye, it doesn't have some of the other characteristics I really like in rye. So water really didn't improve the stout barrel for me. So then the Mizunara cask, of course, it's a higher strength, right? It's a 43.5%. Water also at least 10 minutes. See what we get. Continues to have a nice sweet raisin nose. Nose is good. It was good before. It's equally approachable. Maybe a little less ethanol, so perhaps a drop of water. Open up the nose. Let's try on the palate. Cheers. Well, it's got more backbone to begin with. It's held up to that drop of water a little better. It continues to be more spicing in terms of like a baking spice palette, some cooked down molasses, brown sugars, oak, fair amount of wood tannin, wood structure happening here. Finishing pretty dry, and it has this sweeter note overall. Just a nice sweetness. It's good with water. Probably. Tough. I felt it was a little more coating in the mouth, just a little thicker. Could have been just an impression without the drop of water, but certainly tasty, and the nose is probably more approachable. Fair amount of alcohol on both of these. They do kind of taste a bit young, But if it's in your neighborhood and you got a little more coin going around, this Taconic Mizunara, the Japanese oak finish, is the clear winner of these two for me. And actually, I like it quite a bit. This stout barrel is good. It's okay. I don't know what the pricing is on it, but I don't know if I'd run it down. I'm happy to have a sample. So thankful to the generosity of PWS Imports and Whiskey Drop for allowing me to have a good taste here. If either of these are interesting to you, if you'd like to try either of them, head down to Whiskey Drop if you're in the Edmonton area. That's where they've got them. If not, I don't know where or what their distribution is in the U.S. They're out of New York, but I imagine they're across a number of states. So thanks for joining me here. It's been a wild, emotional ride weekend for me. Milestone, my youngest, now graduated high school. But what a day. What an amazing day we celebrated yesterday. And these samples are great. Hopefully you've got a good bourbon queued up to just sit on the deck, maybe cook up some steaks and relax and enjoy on Tuesday, which is National Bourbon Day. You guys have a great week.